Backwater has always been my least favorite of the original maps in this game. Not just because of the design, which I kind of prefer the look of the jungle in Overgrow or Derailed, but the locations in this map and the number of radio spawn locations, which I'm going to be showing here, and its size kind of bring some problems into the game. And even when I play Firefighting, even though if I'm playing Backwater, I think that most of the time, unless I'm playing with the Valve mission, which is really bad and frustrating, but most of the missions tend to be very okay. But like there's like a bigger range of different kinds of mission. And also because of the fact that there are more variations on where the Firefighting can start the missions. Which that was always like a problem when I play as the Predator. This was like one of the few maps in which sometimes I would just have a little bit of trouble depending on where I spawn to find the Firefighting, because it takes longer for you to cross the map. The size gets in the way of that. In Overgrow or Derailed, I can reach the Firefighting location very fast to be able to start attacking them. In this one, like I say, let's say I spawn it there. The Firefighting is probably gonna spawn. I mean, if I spawn it there, he's probably gonna spawn at southwest. If they spawn at southwest, by the time that I get there, either they're already going to be approaching two camps, and then I'm going to have to choose, because and the camps are a little further away from each other. It's not like, let's say, in Overgrow, where the place where they spawn, you can usually see where they're going like from far, because it's not a very big map. However, in Backwater, the camps are more further away from each other. If they spawn it as southwest, they either are going to go to the village in the south of the map, the water area. They're going to go to the middle camp at the north, or they're going to go to the other camp at northwest. So there are like three options. Well, in Derailed and Overgrow, when the Firefighting spawns in a location, usually there are like two options which the Predator needs to consider going to, because usually it's close to like two different camps, and that's like the place where you're probably going to be going. However, in this map, there are more options. It takes longer for you to reach the locations. There are different more variables in regards to where the Firefighting is going to start the missions. Besides that, this map also has a stupid amount of medikits. There are like so many medikits. One of them is here. And I mean, I think that it's a waste of time to even destroy them. Like, I don't destroy them unless I see them being used by a Firefighting. I try to use the medikits as bait. Because like I said, if I start the match here, I'm going to be trying to cross the map as fast as possible. Something that you can do is use the trees. Good things about this map. I would say that the areas here with the trees are actually very good, and there's a lot of grass. The grass is good while moving the ground as the Predator, because it can actually prevent the Firefighting from spotting you if the grass gets in the way. But apart from that, the water area is not very good. If the Firefighting stays there, your only option is going to be the same as when the Firefighting camps the roofs. Try to use the Smart Disc, because everything else is not going to go well. If you try to come in close to the Firefighting here, they can easily push you back. There's not much you can do. You can try to shoot plasma, but not always you can get a good angle. It's just like too further away from the branches. Because I've seen Firefighting players sometimes camp here, usually like bad players, because it's a very like easy way to deal with the Predator. If you just camp at the water, he cannot come close here without decloaking. He can try to come into the branch, but usually the Predator can be spotted, and you don't always have like the best angles and positions to deal with the Firefighting. But then again, the best way to counter this is just use the Smart Disc. It's a big open area. I mean, this is just a playground for the disc. This is what I did the last times that some Firefighting players tried to camp here. Back then, I remember once I couldn't kill some players that were camping like in this water area. I had to, I mean, at the time it just ran out eventually. Like I killed like one or two, and then they reinforced, and I killed one or two again. But then eventually, like I couldn't finish all of them because I ran out of medikits, and they just camped here. However, after I learned how to use the Smart Disc, it's just like if they come here, I just use the Smart Disc and they're fuck it. The only option is to move out of this area, try to go after me, but usually I was able to just get a kill with the Smart Disc before they could do that. So this village area, I kind of have maxi feelings. Like if you can attack the Firefighting before they get close to the water, it can be like okay, there are like good amount of trees, but the Firefighting can easily take advantage of the water area to kind of like counter the Predator cloaking and stuff. The radio locations are too far away from each other. There are too many in this map, and if you like check one side and until you go to the other, it just takes too long. It's just way too long. The map is just too big. And there are like, okay, let's see, there's another medikit here. Yeah, another medikit here, another medikit there. I think this map can only be really good for Predator if the Firefighting has the Valve mission, which they need to do like a very annoying objective, very slow objectives. They need to go here, they need to go north, they have to go back. Like it's a long mission. It's all about RNG in this map. But apart from that, like I would say that if you get like the weapon struck mission, like you're screwed, because that mission can be done in like 2-3 minutes and then it's over. The size of the map usually is a problem for me. The design, I'm like, it's okay. I just prefer like the other maps, you know. In this camp here is also there are some missions here which just they start and end here. This camp here, I think, is my favorite one to engage against the fighting. If they start the mission here, I would say probably the one that I prefer, because it reminds me of the camps in Overgrow and Derailed. There are trees all around, there are like some buildings there. I just feel it's one of the easiest ones. The one at the middle, which actually tends to be the one that has the most missions, most time that I play on Backwater, the mission tends to be the one here. I don't like this one because there are like no trees here. Like, you see? The trees are too far away. I cannot get close without being easily spotted by the fighting. Just, this area is too open. And you can say, oh, maybe use the smart desk. Yeah, it's an open area, but there are way too many buildings. And there are just a lot of obstacles which can get in the way of using the smart desk. And I remember like when I played fighting here, private games, usually the Predator always had a hard time to be able to come in close. The fighting can just stay here and just try to snipe the Predator from far, just spot him. Predator can try to use some trees around here, but usually the fighting has a better like position overall, like to defend the camp. So this camp, like usually I don't like, I always feel like harder to deal with, because like I mentioned before, positioning is everything in this game. This one here, like there are some missions that go in this camp. The trees are too far away, like unless you get lucky with some plasma shot. Also, it's not an area that I like to fight, because when I evaluate the maps in this game, it's all about evaluating the location and how I'm gonna engage to fighting on it. And it's like that's one of the main reasons why Derailed and Overgrow are the best ones for me. Because the locations, like when I get into the map, I already know, like, oh, I see the trees, this position of the trees, the environment around me, like, oh, this is gonna be a good angle, a good position to attack the fighting. While in Backwater, like at the middle camp, I'm like, wait, how am I supposed to do this? Because I'm talking specifically when I play the private games against my fighting. I'm like, I go there, I'm like, what the hell? I can't get close to them. There's like not any opening there. And it's gonna be even worse on like stuff like airstrip or even headquarters. I think headquarters is the worst, or is still like the worst option there for the Predator. And it's the one that really shows like how much of an issue it is. And it's kind of reminds me a little bit of Backwater because of its size. Like it's even big. I think headquarters is the biggest map, right? But Backwater is still like too big, no, for this game to work. I think it's just because of the balance. If the Predator was just a little bit stronger, you know, maybe he wouldn't be that much of an issue. But the balance of the game, the gap between the fight and the Predator, they become more noticeable when you're in maps which tend to favor the fighting more. For the radio locations, the strategy for them tends to be the same one that I mentioned in the other maps. Always try to go up in a branch and try to attack from far. But then again, like look here, the radio is gonna be there. However, you won't be able to get a good angle sometimes. You need to get a good position for them. Like there. Okay, now this is a little bit better. But there are some radio locations in which it can be kind of tricky because they're like, it's just like the position is overall bad. But I usually recommend the high ground. Here's another one. You can use the trees around you to be able to shoot plasma from there, or shoot, you know. There's another one. There are a lot of radio locations which are very close to each other. However, if you check like the three locations here, let's say you're looking for the last fighting player, and you check the 3 locations here, you didn't find the radio here. By the time that you try to check another location that is like further away, he's probably gonna call it. It's just like, I like that some radio locations are very close to each other. That way you can eliminate options faster. However, to be able to check them out, it takes too long. But this strategy, I think that overall, at least they all have like trees close to them. But this one, you won't be able to get much splash damage. You might have to go down there. And if you come down here, I feel like this is a good area for the fighting to just jump around and run away from the Predator until the reinforcements time goes down. And then there are like 2 more radio locations at that side. I mean, against like very bad fighting players, you won't really make a difference. Like you it won't really affect the gameplay. But when you're playing against good players, I feel like there's a reason why this map is not that much played on private games. Like, it just gets in the way. And some missions for the fight, in my opinion, are kind of boring, like the Valve mission. If I start a fighting match and I got the Valve mission, I just feel like quitting the game and just go play something else because I'm just lazy to do that long mission. Also, another thing that bothers me when I play fighting, new Predator players, they have trouble finding the fighting because the map is too big, especially if it's like night. Same thing on headquarters. Overgrown and derailed are also better, or also excavation because it's smaller, because at least the Predator players, the new players, can find the fighting faster. In this map, I think they got lost. I think this is not a very noob-friendly map, you know. For new players, it's not very friendly because of its size. I feel like that a lot of new players tend to get lost on it. For the North Camp, using the disc or coming in close might be one of the only options, but then again, you just don't have much of element of surprise. Like this location here, when I look at it and when I decided to play this a few times in private games, it was always like, oh, I can't have an element of surprise. It's all gonna be about me getting more hits and being lucky that the fighting is gonna miss some shots to be able to out damage them. Like it is all about that. I think at the village, the water area, you can have a little bit more stealth depending on the angle. But then again, like the fighting can easily counter you there. It's just like easily very fighting favorite. There are like so many medikits around this area here. I think that the only location in which the Predator can have some advantage is when the fighting is moving through one mission objective to another and they're like further away. Like when they are moving like here, they have to go through here. So let's say that building there where there's the radius, there are a lot of mission objectives there. They need to leave the village to come through here. This is a good area for you to engage because there's a lot of grass. You can try to like attack the fighting behind the grass. You can take advantage of the trees. But this, I would say, are like the only locations where the Predator has a good opportunity.